Today we're going to show you how to make a real quick little cheese. I call it farmer's cheese. It's kind of a mozzarella texture. I'm using goat cheese, but you can use this with sheep or cow or buffalo or whatever kind of milk you have. We're going to start, I make it a gallon at a time, so we're going to start with this first gallon here. Pour it into your pan. Make sure it's a pan that's big enough to hold a gallon of milk. And I put it at about medium heat. A candy thermometer works, but I kind of prefer my dairy thermometer because it's quite accurate. And we're going to heat this milk up to 70 degrees. And now over here I've got a quarter cup of cold water in this cup and in this cup. To our first one, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid. Citric acid you can find in the canning section, probably at Walmart or any other grocery store. It's used for canning tomatoes mostly. In place of lemon juice, you can use citric acid. And in our second one, we're going to put liquid rennet. It's a little harder to get your hands on. I get mine from Hager's Supply. It's a goat supply store. And we're going to put a quarter teaspoon of liquid rennet in the second container of water. Now once our milk heats up to 70 degrees, we're going to add our citric acid water. We've reached 70 degrees with our milk, so at this point we add our citric acid, which is 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid dissolved in a quarter cup of cold water. Pour that in, just stir it up a little bit, and once again we wait. We wait until it hits 95. Okay, now our milk has reached 95 degrees. Now we're going to add our rennet, which is a quarter teaspoon of liquid rennet added to a quarter cup of cool water. You pour that in. Now we're just going to stir until it thickens up. It's kind of just like magic. It just nice and liquid, and all of a sudden it just gets thick. Watch closely, you'll see it happen. Can you get closer? There it goes. There it is. That just curdled up. It went from milk to this. Now what we're going to do is you're going to push it up on the sides, and this you do until it hits approximately 130 degrees. Now, common sense will tell you if it gets to cheese before you reach 130 degrees. Somewhere between 110 and 130. Now some people, when they make mozzarella cheese, they stretch it and heat it and stretch it and heat it. This is my stretching process as I push it up against the sides of the pan. That's how we stretch it. And as you can see, it's starting to separate more from the whey. It's more thick. You keep on pushing it up against the side, stretching it, and it starts to come together more. You want to keep on stretching it until it's about the consistency of bread dough. This particular cheese takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to make a batch. And you can freeze it, and it doesn't really cause it to be crumbly. Most cheeses, if you freeze it, it kind of changes the consistency, but this will still be the same when you take it out of the freezer. can add flavors to it, garlic or dill. I usually just make it plain because we use it on pizza and grilled cheese sandwiches. And so you can see that it's starting to hold together. As I said, you're going to want this about the consistency of a bread dough. Right now we're about at 126. I think I actually am done. I think I like the consistency of it here. We're going to shut it off. Now we're going to put it through a strainer into a bowl here. Once again, make sure your container is big enough to hold your liquid. And there we have our cheese. It's a little bit in there, you might want to gather that up. Squeeze the excess out. I make it nice and flat because you're going to need the salt into there, so you want to flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to put it on a plate. And we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using Redmond's real salt here. And then you're going to kind of roll it and knead it, whatever you have to do to get that salt mixed in. And salt pulls moisture out, so as you knead it, you're going to notice more moisture dripping out, more weight. And as it cools, it gets a little firmer. And now my favorite part, I'm going to taste it and see if the salt is mixed in. Nothing better than fresh, warm cheese. Now I'm going to let it cool, but I like to mound it up because it does kind of flatten out a little. So we're going to kind of bunch it up high so it comes out in a shape like I want it. And that's it. Now what I find rather fascinating is after we make the cheese, this is our whey that's left over. And as you can see, it's almost the same amount as the milk we started with. So I don't know how you can get a pound of cheese out of there and end up with the same amount almost, but just an amazing fact. And here's what our cheese looks like when it's done. Cool and nice. I just put mine in a sandwich bag and it's good to go.